Hi Siddharth, do you have any doubts?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Do you
No
have any
doubts,
doubts?
sir.
Plus, something?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's start the class.
Yes, sir.
It's already 7 o'clock. Okay. So, yeah, so we did the composite functions. Let's move on to inverse functions. All right. So, I already spoke about inverse functions a bit. What did I say here about inverse functions? Do you remember? Inverse functions. There's a set A and a set B, where A is the domain, B is the codomain, and you define a function f. For f inverse to be defined, okay, what are the conditions? F should be 1, 1 and onto. Did I not mention this before?
Yes, sir.
Right. 1, 1 because if it's not 1, 1, if many of them point to the same one, how can you define the inverse function for that element? Every element should have a unique image, right? That's not happening. Right. So it's not a function if it's not 1, 1. It's not an inverse function. Inverse function doesn't exist if it's not 1, 1. And why should it be onto? Because this codomain becomes the range, becomes the domain. For codomain of f is the domain for f inverse. All right. So if there's any part that's left out, what's the value you'll take if you pass it through f inverse? Okay, if this is left out, if you pass this as the input, what's the output you'll get? There's no assurance. It could be anything. All right. So it should be both 1, 1 and onto for the inverse to exist. Got this? Any doubts here?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, I told you how to get inverse also. Let's just do a question. F is defined from 0 to 1, 0, 1, 2, 2 to infinity. Of x equal to x plus 1 by x. Your task is to find f inverse. All right. F inverse x equal to what? What would you do here? This is your question. What do you do here? You write the function down, y equal to x plus 1 by x, and then rewrite the function as x square minus yx plus 1 equal to 0. All right. Now, what do you do? What's the next objective?
Write x in
Guys,
terms of y.
write x in terms of y. X becomes minus b plus or minus b square minus 4ac by 2a. So I'm getting two functions here, right? One is y plus root y square minus 4 by 2. Other is y minus root y square minus 4 by 2. But guys, remember, the inverse will always be unique. Graphically, I told you how to draw the inverse, right? If I get a function like this, I'll just draw y equal to x graph and take its mirror image. All right. Okay, so there's only one inverse function that exists. If this is f, this is f inverse. If this was f, this is f inverse. It should be the mirror about y equal to x. So which of these is the unique value? Which of these is the correct value?
Y minus.
Y minus. Why do you get This one. You get x in terms of y like this. All right. So just put a value of y between what? 2 and infinity. Okay. So if you put the value 2, what do you get? You put 2 plus 0 by 2 here. 2 minus 0 by 2, which is not concluding anywhere. Next, what do? We put another value. Let's put 4. 4 plus root 16 minus 4, which is 12 by 2, which becomes 2 plus root 3. And this will become 2 minus root 3. There's a minus sign. That's the only difference here before the root thing. This becomes 2 plus root 3. This becomes 2 minus root 3. We can see that only one of them lies between 0 and 1. Okay. This is how you deal with this problem. Only one of them lies between 0 and 1. And that is this one. So that is why you take minus sign. Got this, guys?
Yes, sir.
All right. Pretty straightforwardly this was. If you have any doubts, please stop me and ask. Okay. Wait to another problem. Equal to ln of this 1 plus x squared. Okay. It's defined from R to R. Okay. So find the inverse. Find the inverse. Come on. Okay, guys, one more thing. So for inverse to exist, first thing you have to check is whether it's 1, 1 and on 2. That's your first task. Then only there's any point to this. All right. Okay. So how do you check if it's 1, 1?
f of x1 equal to f of x2.
What did I teach? So what you do is you differentiate this. All right. You differentiate this. Okay. And then I'll get x by 2 root 1 plus x square into x plus root 1 plus x square. All right. So here, what you should realize is that root of 1 plus x square will always be greater than mod x. Does this make sense? I can write this as root of x square, right? Mod x. So root of 1 plus x square will always be greater than that. So basically, it will be greater than plus or minus x. Doesn't matter. So this quantity will be positive. This is root of 1 plus x square, which is positive. Now, what remains here?
X.
X. All right. So, this is defined from R to R. Okay. That's fine. So here, after 0, it keeps on increasing. All right. Then y is equal to ln x plus root 1 plus x square. Finding dy by dx, we get 1 by plus root 1 plus x square. Differentiate this root 1 plus x square and this becomes x. Now I get 2 root 1 plus x square plus x. Is there any calculation mistake here? Yeah, it's x square. It should be 2x here. Sorry. Yes. All right. So this gets cancelled out. This 2 doesn't exist here. Now what will happen? These two terms cancel out. And you get 1 by 2 root 1 plus x square. All right. This makes more sense. You get 1 by 2 root 1 plus x square, which will always be greater than 0. So what does that mean? Dy by dx is always greater than 0, which means the function keeps increasing. Okay, it never becomes constant or reduces. That doesn't happen. Once it becomes constant, slope is 0. Once it reduces, slope becomes negative. Here, for all points, slope is positive. So you have an increasing function, and hence it's 1, 1. Remember, guys, it's an increasing function, you're sorted. 1, 1 means what? The same y value does not happen twice. See, this will not happen. It should always increase or always decrease. Then only it's 1, 1. Okay. All right. So, did you get this? All right. So, we have 1, 1 function here. Can you find the inverse? What is the inverse you found? What do you find the inverse here? Okay. So, f inverse in terms of x will be e power 2x minus 1 divided by e power x. Right? Okay. We'll do equal functions. All right. Now, let's look at the first part. Root x square and x. Are they equal or identical functions? I have f of x equal to this and g of x equal to x. Are they equal and identical functions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Why are they not?
F of x can be minus x or plus x.
Yes, this will come out to be mod x, which will be plus or minus x. Okay, when x is negative, you'll get minus x. That is what will make it positive. Okay, or look at it this way. The domain of f and the domain of g, both are real numbers. Okay, any real number. What about the range of f? Range of f is the set of all positive real numbers along with 0. Range of g is any of the real number. All right. So it's not identical. Let's see the next one. Sin x and 1 by cosec x. What about these two? Are they identical?
Yes,
f
sir.
of x equal to sin x and g of x equal to 1 by cosec x. Are they the same?
Yes, sir.
Why? Domain is a set of all real numbers. The domain here,
Will be the same
will,
set of real numbers.
will be the set of all real numbers. But remember, cosec x has to be defined at each point. At n pi, cosec x will not be defined. Don't forget. All right. N pi is what? Wherever sine becomes 0. So cosec x is 1 by sine x. We know that before. Okay. We know this from before. Now, if sine x becomes 0, what is the issue? Cosec x will not be defined. All right. So for 1 by cosec x, you write it as sine x. But for the cases where cosec x is defined, now cosec x is not defined at any n pi. All right. So are they the same? These two functions. Hey, can I get a response? Are they the same?
No, sir.
No, right? Okay. What about this one? These two functions. What about these two functions? Are they the same?
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Yes, no, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you calculate the domain? Domain of f is where x minus 1 by x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. When does that happen? Remember this. Minus 1, minus 2. We did wavy curve method, right? Should be greater than or equal to 0. This will be plus. Negative. This will be positive, which means x moves from 2 to infinity or minus infinity to minus 1 included. Okay. Now here, the domain of G will be what? X minus 2 should be greater than 0 for sure. And x minus 1 can be greater than or equal to 0. So this means this is 2 to infinity. This is 1 to infinity. Taking what is common between both, we get answer as 2 to infinity. Now, are these the same?
No, sir.
All right. Remember, these are all trick questions. Right. So they are not the same function. Your domain and range should be the same for each point in the domain. Okay. At each point also it should be the same. Like if I say sin x and cos x, you know they're not the same. All right. But how do we prove they're not the same? If I say domain, it's any real number. Domain of G is any real number. Range of f is between minus 1 and 1. Range of G is between minus 1 and 1. But are they identical functions? Are they?
No, sir.
Look, they should have the same point in the range for every point in the domain. That's the idea. Okay. Not just this. This is the first check. Are the domains the same? Are the ranges the same? Then you check, is the range same for each point in the domain? All right. Only then can they be considered the same. Only then they can be identical functions. All right. Another question. Okay, what about this? Are they identical?
No, sir.
No, sir.
They're not identical. Okay, good. Why? First one can be negative, second one cannot. All right, as simple as that. Now, Okay, I'll draw a graph. You'll have to draw graph of the reciprocal. Okay, this is a quick topic called graph of reciprocals. This is the 0.5. This is the 0.2. We'll peak at the 0.4. Starts from 3/4. Peak will be at 0.3. Okay, so this is the graph of the function f of x. All right, that's a -1 though. Okay, so how will the graph of 1 by f of x look like? How will the graph of 1 by f of x look like? That's the question. I hope you guys are trying to solve it, okay? -1, 2, and 4. And then this starts from 3/4. There is a 0.2. There is a 0.3 and a 0.5. Okay. At 5, this value is 2. 1 by f will become 1 by 2. Okay, so this will be 1 and this will be half. So 5 will be here. Now, at 3, it takes the value 4. At 3 here, it will be 1 by 4. All right. So it will be somewhere here. Go to 0. Now, at 2, it becomes 0. 1 by 0 is not defined. So remember, at 2, this will not be defined. And in the positive part, it will go to plus infinity. In the negative part, what happens? 3/4. Here it's -1. At 3/4, it will be 1 by -1, which is -1 itself. Okay, so it'll start from here and it will go to negative infinity. So wherever f of x becomes 0, at that point, it won't be defined. If it was negative before, it will go like this. If it is positive after, it will come from infinity. Got this? This is how we draw the graph of any function's reciprocal. If you have any doubts, please ask. We'll continue. Okay, I'll give you a function now. Please draw the reciprocal. Draw the reciprocal of this. Come on. Maybe you should get a graph like this. Getting something like this? Guys, are you able to hear me, first of all?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And why are you so silent, all of you? Guys, just unmute yourselves one by one. I'm asking each and every one of you to unmute. Parish Liarni, I pressed mute by mistake. Yeah, all right. So now we have reciprocal function with us. Can you draw the reciprocal function of f of x equal to this here? Fractional part of x. Can you draw the reciprocal function of this? This fractional part function goes like this. Okay. All right. So fractional part function, since it'll go like this, the inverse of it, 1 by this thing. So this will start from 0. So 0 means it's coming from infinity or minus infinity. You don't know which part. And at 1, it will be 1. But then it never becomes the value 1. 0 to 1 it is. 0 is included, but 1 is not. The point is, 1 won't be included when we take the reciprocal function. It's coming from plus infinity. They're all positive values, so it doesn't go to minus infinity. It comes from plus infinity. Okay. So the graph, you can see, right? It goes like this. Right? This will be 1 by fractional part of x. Got this?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, f of x into sin x. Okay. Let f of x be monotonic. Like basically it's just continuously increasing or continuously decreasing. So if f of x had a graph, something like, let's take f of x equal to x. What will f of x sin x graph look like? Okay, first understand that sin x graph goes like this. All right. Okay, sin x graph goes like this. Now, this is f of x equal to x. All right, so I will draw that first. Okay, f of x equal to x. I will also draw f of x equal to minus x. Basically, it's mirror on the x-axis. All right. And then this is f of x equal to x. My function f of x into sin x will hence be, like sin x is a value between -1 and 1. It oscillates. So whatever value you get for x will be multiplied by a value between -1 and 1. Okay. So the idea is at pi by 2. At pi by 2, sin x becomes 1. So this g of x will be equal to x itself. At 3 pi by 2, it will become -1. It will become minus x. At 5 pi by 2, it will become x. At 7 pi by 2, it will become minus x. And so on. Did you get what happened? You use f of x equal to x and f of x equal to minus x to which act as an envelope. Okay. And inside that, sin x keeps varying. Sin x makes it vary, makes the whole thing vary, even on this side. Okay, there'll be negative value, be positive value, negative value, positive value, and so on. Are you understanding how we form the graph here?
No, sir.
Don't understand? Okay. So we have f of x equal to x. And we're interested in the graph of f of x into sin x. Okay, so this will be the graph I'm trying to draw here. So where does sin x go? Sin x is a value between -1 and 1. You know that already, right? Okay. So g of x is basically f of x, which is in this case, it's x into a value between -1 and 1. Got this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll first draw out y equal to x and y equal to minus x. Okay. Will the value of f of x into sin x cross these two values, x and minus x? It'll be x into a value between -1 and 1. Can it cross x? Can it be greater than x?
No, sir.
No. So basically, my graph cannot come in these parts, these regions. Okay, got that? It cannot come in this region also. Because it can't cross x or it can't cross minus x. Did all of you get this much?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it has to be here. You can see the cursor, right? Can you see the cursor, guys? it has to be in this region or this region alone. It can't go beyond that because sin x is between -1 and 1. All right. Now, draw the graph. I will look at the graph of 1 second. Okay. So sin x, I already know the shape of sin x. Okay. Sin x goes, this is a horrible sin x graph. Sin x goes like this. All right. Between -1 and 1. Okay, guys. All right. Sin x goes between -1 and 1 like this. Now, the idea is x into sin x. So, suppose sin x was 0.5. So, x into 0.5 will be this value x into 0.5. So, it will be somewhere here. Okay. It will be somewhere below this here. Now, x is 0. Sin x is also 0. So, it will be here. X is 1. Sorry. X is pi by 2. Sin x is 1. Okay. So, what will the value be? Pi by 2 itself. Okay. So, the idea is you will get a graph that keeps oscillating. So, at 0, it will become 0 because it's f of x into sin x. At -1, it will touch minus x. At +1, what will happen? It will touch plus x. All right. Now, are you following? Does this make more sense?
Yes, sir.
At 0, it will be 0. Okay. At 1, like what will happen? When it's 1, g of x will be equal to x itself. So, it will come to this point. All right. And then at 0, again, it will be 0. At -1, what will happen? It will come to minus x. So, you can see that y equal to x and y equal to minus x acts as an envelope. All right. It contains the function here. But are you able to draw a graph if you get a function like this? Would you able to be able to draw a graph if you get a function like this? If you have some simple function multiplied by sin x, you should be able to draw the graph. All right. So now let's just continue. All right. Just draw a graph of this function of x equal to e power minus x into cos x. F of x equal to e power minus x into cos x. Just e power minus x into cos x. I'm sure this is not that visible. Okay, so how do you draw the graph of this? E power minus x into cos x. Got the shape of the function? Yes, you got the shape of the function here. What do you do here first? You draw e power minus x. How do you draw that? You know that e power x goes like this. E power minus x will be like this. All right. And you also draw minus of e power minus x. Why do you do that? Because this will be e power minus x into a value between -1 and 1. Okay, both included actually. All right. So how does cos x go? Cos x, you already know, starts from 1 and then goes like this. Okay, cos x is between -1 and 1 and it goes like this. Right. Now, our graph here, what we're looking for, we'll start from 1, we'll hit minus e power x, we'll hit x here, become 1, will become -1, will become 1, will become -1, become 1. Take like this, it just gets closer and closer to the x-axis. And on this side, it just keeps getting bigger this way. All right, so this is the graph of what? E power minus x into cos x. All right. Guys, did you follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this will be the graph of e power minus x into cos x. Guys, are you having any doubts? I'm just getting angry, none of you are responding. All right. Like, a few of you are, like very few of you, but it's because there are no other responses. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Hmm? Yeah. All right. Please draw the graph of this. Draw the graph, come on. I'm not multiplying anything by sin x or cos x. So please quickly draw the graph. That's a good question for you. I'm looking for that. Okay, how do we construct the graph here? What do we do? We break this up into different parts. Basically, on a real number line, we'll take the points 1, 2, and 5 and break the function up. Lesser than 1, what happens? This becomes 1 minus x. This becomes 2 minus x. This becomes 5 minus x. So lesser than 1, this is nothing but 8 minus 3x, the function. Between 1 and 2, what happens? This is x minus 1. This becomes 2 minus x and this is 5 minus x. This cancels out. This becomes 1. This becomes 6. 6 minus x is between 2 and 1. Between 2 and 5, this is x minus 1. This is x minus 2. This is 5 minus x. All right. Mod of x minus 5 becomes 5 minus x. So then x and minus x cancels out. You get x plus 2 here. And beyond 5, what happens? You get 3x minus 8. Got this? So there'll be 4 different lines for this graph. All right. If you have any doubts, please ask. So once you construct these 4 different lines, You have your answer. So 8 minus 3x, y equal to 8 minus 3x. When x is equal to 0, y is equal to 8, somewhere here. When y is equal to 0, x is equal to 8 by 3, which is 2.66. When y is equal to 0, x is equal to 2.66. So the graph goes like this somewhere. This is still 1. Okay, and then from 1 to 2, it is 6 minus x. In other words, y plus x equal to 6. This was the 0.8. This will be 6. This somewhere here will be 6. So y plus x will be 6 here. Okay, this is up to the point 2. Okay, and then 2 to 5, what is it? It's x plus 2. Y equal to x plus 2. Y equal to x plus 2. So you have y equal to x, and then take it up by 2 units. All right, so you get a line here. It goes like this, and then from 2 to 5, it will be going like this. Okay. Then here you get 3x minus 8. Y equal to 3x minus 8. Now, when I put x equal to 0, I get y equal to minus 8. But yeah, I'm putting it from 5. When I put equal to 5, what happens? I get 15 minus 8, which is 7, which will be somewhere here only. You'll get something going up like this. You'll get a weird shaped graph here. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. We have to check the endpoints if to verify if they are the same point. Okay, we have to check that also. Don't forget that. Okay, we'll check the endpoints as well, and then we'll connect a graph. Got what you do here? You just break it at the critical points and start drawing the graph. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
No doubts? Okay. All right. Then give some more properties. Okay. X and y are different variables. Then f of xy equal to f of x plus f of y. It implies that f of x equal to k ln x or f of x equal to 0. Keep this in your mind. X and y are independent variables. These are some properties I want you to note down. Okay. Note them down first. Second one is if f of x y equal to f of x into f of y, then the function is x power n function. Right? Where n is any real number. The third one is if f of x plus y equal to f of x into f of y, then f of x will be a power x. A power x. A power x. You can multiply a k also. F of x equal to k into a power x. No. A power kx. Yes. Right, guys, my bad here. F of x will be a power kx. Guys, these are things I want you to remember. All right. Like, you'll get a question, like, if this is equal to this, then in your mind, immediately this should strike. Or at least know that these many forms exist so that it's one of them. So when you see the condition on this side, on the left side, you can identify it's one of those functions and then verify which one it is. Right. So then if f of x plus y equal to f of x equal to f of y, then it just means that f of x is equal to constant. Right. This one is if it's given that f of x takes rational values for all x, it just means one thing. What could it mean, guys? if f of x takes rational values for all values of x. So it's a trick part in many questions they ask, okay, f of x takes rational values in all x. It's just another way of saying that f of x is a constant function. All right? Got this? The thing is, if f of x takes rational values for all x, it's very tough because you will pass irrational values as x, right? But for it to pass only rational values coming out, then it has only one meaning here. F of x is equal to k. And it's given that f of x is a continuous function, not like g of x or anything. All right. So we're assuming that f of x is a continuous function in all these cases. If it takes rational values, then f of x equal to k here, which means the constant function. And this is also pretty common. Please remember this. F of x to f of 1 by x equal to f of x plus f of 1 by x. Then it means only one thing. Okay, one of two things actually. F of x equal to 1 plus or minus x bar. Okay. So this is the idea here. Any doubts?
Sir, can you scroll up?
Yes, one second. Know these properties? So whenever you look, it's very rare they ask questions like this. But be aware that these possibilities are there. All right. When they ask questions like this, this just makes your process much faster. Instead of going through a process to find what f of x is, directly use this. You can get to the answer much faster. All right. So I've seen questions based on the sixth one like this. They'll ask f of x into f of 1 by x equal to f of x plus f of 1 by x. All right. And then they'll say that f of 4 is equal to 65. What is f of x? Now, here, once you realize that you have f of x equal to 1 plus or minus x bar k, I will write this as 1 plus or minus 4 bar k for f of 4. Okay. It's 65 for, no. Let's put, oh yeah, 65 is good. 65 is good actually. Then this becomes, what does this become? 1 plus or minus, what is 4 cube?
64.
64, right? So this becomes 1 plus 64. So the idea is f of x will be 1 plus x cube. That's the idea. So when you have this and this, suddenly you can just directly say f of x equal to 1 plus x cube. Now let them ask whatever they want. They're asking based on this f of x. Okay. So they know that if they give you this, you will just get confused and roam around in circles. All right. Got this now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
he Watson has a power cut, sir, so he couldn't join the rest of the class.
No, I understood. The one person dropped out. I got it. The power cut at his place. That's fine. Okay, so let's end this chapter here. Do you want to do some practice problems? Guys, can you please respond?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll give you a random question, not based on this, but try this. It's not an easy question. Yeah, go for it. Tan square theta, this is tan square theta. Now the question is, find f of x. Need more questions actually. Guys, do this as homework. I'll give you another question also. Practice different types of questions. That's the point of this. Yes, right. So 1 is given as 3. Okay. The above one is a tough, the question I gave previously is a tougher version of this question that we have here. Right? Let's start with this first. We'll do this much. If you get a hang of this, then please try that in your own way. Go for this. Come on. It's a much simpler version of the above question. Okay, so first thing what we'll do is, look, these are functional equations, okay? First thing you have to realize is that these are functional equations. Basically, the arguments are in terms of x and y. There are two parts here, x and y here. So the idea here is for any real value of x or y, this is valid. So hence, you can put any real value of x or y into this. All right. So this looks like it's crippling. Not really. It's actually doable. All right. So you put x equal to 0. Let's see what happens. You get f of y equal to f of 0 plus y into 0 plus y, which becomes y square. All right. So now I can write f of y equal to y square plus f of 0, and I'll call that constant. I'll call that a constant c. Okay. All right. So we have f of x in terms of x. That's what we need, right? So we have f of y in terms of y. So we know that our answer f of x will be x squared plus some constant c. We need to find the value of the constant though. All right. How do we do that? We use f of 1 equal to 3. We have f of 1 equal to 1 squared plus c equal to 3. It's already given to us. Now from here I can say that c is 2. So now my answer here will be x squared plus 2. Got this?
Yes, sir.
The rest of you. There are a few more here. Did you
Sir,
guys
how
get
did
this?
you take?
Hmm.
How did you take f of x is equal to x square plus c?
I got f of y equal to y squared plus c.
Okay, so the same applies to x
Instead
also.
of y, you can put apple, orange, x, in any epsilon, like anything you want, you can put there. All right. So it's the same argument there. So whatever input I give y, it becomes y square plus a constant c. That's the idea. Okay. So once I got into the form, I realized that okay, I changed the name of y to x. That's all I did. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so very like simple kind of logic, but it can look confusing. That's why I had to bring it out. Does this look fine to everybody? Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's move ahead to the next topic. Right. That'll be trigonometry. Okay, let's go for trigonometry next. So, these are some basic identities, but anyone is unfamiliar with any of these identities? Anybody unfamiliar with any of these identities?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. Sec x plus tan x equal to 7. What's sec x minus tan x? Guys, quickly, what's the answer? Guys, come on, please answer fast.
1/7.
Exactly. All right. What is sec square minus tan square x? Sec square x minus tan square x
1.
will always be 1. And that I'll write it as sec x minus tan x into sec x plus tan x. All right. And it's given to me that this here is 7. Okay. So this into 7 is equal to 1. That's what I get. All right. So my answer will be 1/7. Okay. Okay, just send me general solution. That I want to see how well you know trigonometry. If I say sine theta equal to 0, what is theta?
N pi.
N pi.
N pi. Okay, that's good. N is, what is N?
Integer.
Integers.
Integer. Okay. If I have cos theta equal to 0, if I have cos theta equal to 0,
N pi by
n pi by 2. There's a
2.
problem
2
with n
and
pi by 2.
2 and plus 1 pi by 2.
2n plus
Yeah,
1.
exactly. It's an odd multiple of pi by 2 because even multiples of pi by 2 become a multiple of pi, an integral multiple of pi. All right. All right. So then cos of pi is -1, Cos of 2 pi is 1. So all those values will be included unnecessarily. So there'll be odd multiples of pi by 2. Now, if I get sine theta equal to 1, what does that mean? Theta is
Pi by 2.
2n plus 1 pi by 2.
2n plus 1 pi by 2. You sure? So if I put n equal to 1, what happens here? I get 3 pi by 2. What is sine 3 pi by 2, guys?
Minus.
So we found the issue here. Think of it this way. I'll tell you. Eraser. Okay. So this theta will be, okay, so this is what we're concerned with. Theta will be 2n pi plus pi by 2. That's it. Okay. So in other words, you'll neatly write it as 4n plus 1 pi by. Okay. This is sine theta equal to 1. It's good to remember this, but if you get the logic, you're good enough. All right. 2n pi, basically any multiple of 2 pi plus pi by. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Now, what about cos theta equal to 1?
Two n pi plus or minus pi by 2.
2n pi plus or minus pi by 2. Okay, correct. Wait, no.
No, sir.
No. What am I even saying? It's just 2n pi. All right. Even I got confused. All right. But thank you.
2n pi.
So 2n pi. Absolutely. All right. So what about cos theta equal to minus 1? What do you get?
2n plus 1 pi.
2n? Yeah, it should be an odd multiple of pi. Okay. Cos theta equal to minus 1 is an odd multiple of pi. If I get sine theta equal to minus 1, 2n pi minus pi by 2 will do. Okay. All right. We'll get 4n minus 1 pi by 2. Is this clear? This much?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My first question for you. Cos 1 greater than sine 1. True or false?
True, sir.
True, sir.
Or
True, sir.
True.
how are you getting true? How did you get true?
Check with the graph, sir.
Check with the graph. Okay. Draw the graph now. Cos x. Okay, we'll just draw from 0 to pi by 2, right? That's good enough. Cos x is like this, and sin x will be like this. All right. Now, what are they asking? Cos 1 greater than sin 1. Where will cos 1 be? And mark one point here also where they become equal. This will be pi by 4. So, where will cos 1 be? Region A or region B? Where will cos 1 be? As in the angle 1. Where is the angle 1?
Region A.
Okay. That is what you have to first verify. Okay. Is this 1 degree or 1 radian?
Radian.
1 is a radian. Okay, not 1 degree. 1 degree will be specified degrees. Okay, if it's 30, it will be written 30 degrees. All right. So, cos 1 radian greater than sin 1 radian. Now, what is 1 radian? It is 180 by pi, right? Degrees. Because we are familiar with degrees, we'll try to find out how many degrees is 1 radian. Like pi radian is 180 degrees. So 1 radian will be 180 by pi degrees. All right. So this is basically 180 by 3.14, which will roughly come out to 56, 57 range. Okay. I'm generally writing it as 57. So my angle will be where? After pi by 4, here. Okay. And here, what is greater? Sine or cos?
Sine.
Sine is clearly greater. So is this true or false? False. Okay. Got this? Since 1 radian is 57 degree, I find that sine theta is greater than cos theta. All right. At 45 degree, they'll be same. Before that, cos will be greater than sine. If it was 1 degree, then cos 1 is greater than sine 1. All right. Degrees. But for radian, it is false. All right. Let's move ahead. Now, sine 314 degree is less than 0. True or false? I'm giving you interesting things to think about here, okay? Sine 314 degrees is less than 0. Is it true
Yes,
or
sir.
is it false? Yeah.
It's true, sir.
Why? You say that?
Because 314 degrees is in fourth quadrant. Sine is negative.
Fourth quadrant. How do you say that 314 degrees is in fourth quadrant?
270 to 360 is fourth quadrant.
Okay. Okay. Good, good, good. You didn't confuse this with pi. That's what I wanted. All right. This is degrees. All right. So once you see that this is in fourth quadrant, you see that this is less than 0. So guys, anybody who doesn't know this, please tell me. In the first quadrant, all of them will be positive. In the second quadrant, sine and cosec will be positive. In the third quadrant, tan and cot will be positive, while everything else is negative. Okay. In the fourth quadrant, cos and sec will be positive. Got this? I think all
Yes,
of you
sir.
know. Please ask. Okay, I'll give you one more question. Find the distance between orthocenter and circumcenter of triangle with sides 17, 15, and 8. Okay. Orthocenter, circumcenter in a triangle with sides 17, 15, and 8. Okay. What do you do here? Find the distance between orthocenter and circumcenter of a triangle with sides 17, 15, and 8. Quickly solve, come on. Start looking for the next question for you. Okay, trigonometry has some very interesting questions. We'll do all the identities next class, but right now we'll practice like basic concepts. Get that straight. Then we'll focus on formulas. What is orthocenter? What is orthocenter? People, what is orthocenter?
Don't know, sir.
No. Orthocenter is where all the altitudes meet. Ortho means 90 degree perpendicular. Just think like that. Okay. Okay. You know what orthogonal is, right? Like all perpendicular ideas are ortho. When you say orthocenter, it's where all the three altitudes will meet. You know what an altitude is, right?
Yes, sir.
You take a vertex and then drop 90 degree from the vertex to the opposite side. That's it. That's an altitude. Okay. So even if you have a triangle like this, you can draw an altitude. All right. From this point, you just draw altitude here. This will be the altitude. As long as it meets this line somewhere, not the line segment here, the line somewhere, right? This will be an altitude. Now from here to here, you draw another altitude. From here to here, you draw another altitude. Okay, all these altitudes will meet at a point. They are called the orthocenter. So there are other triangles where this will come here, will come here, and will come here. Then they should actually meet at a point, and that will be called the orthocenter. Right? And it's generally denoted by H. Remember this. Now circumcenter. What is circumcenter? What is circumcenter? It's the meeting point of the perpendicular bisector of each side. So you have this here, you draw perpendicular bisector. You have this here, you draw perpendicular bisector. You have this here, you draw a perpendicular bisector. They should all meet at a point, and that is called the circumcenter. Right? You're asking for the distance between orthocenter and circumcenter. How would you do that? Guys, orthocenter, circumcenter, what's the distance between them here? Guys, first I want you to notice that what I asked you was a right triangle. Okay, 17, 15, and 8. 17 square is 289. 15 square is 225. 8 square is 64. You add both of them, you get 289. A square equal to B square plus C square. All right. Now, what is happening here? In a right triangle, when you draw circumcenter can also be looked at as the circle, all right, around which, inside which the triangle is drawn. Okay, the circle inside which the triangle is drawn. There's only one circle. That's called the circumcircle, and the center of that is also the circumcenter. Okay. Now you should notice that this is 90 degree. All right. So the center of the hypotenuse, the midpoint of the hypotenuse, will be this center of the circle. Got this? All right. This is 90 degree means this right triangle, this will become a semicircle this here. All right. This is a semicircle here. So, okay. So the center of this hypotenuse will be the circumcenter. Okay. Now, what are they asking here? They're asking for the distance between circumcenter and the orthocenter. How do you find the orthocenter? Look, towards this side, this bottom side, from this vertex, I draw altitude by dropping a perpendicular, which is already drawn here. From this point here, towards this side, I draw perpendicular I draw an altitude by dropping a perpendicular, okay, which is already here. Now, they meet at the orthocenter, also known as H. Okay. So this is the orthocenter, guys. This vertex was already the orthocenter. In a right triangle, that always happens. Okay. The 90 degree angle is the orthocenter. All right. So this is the center here. This is the center of the circle. And this is what I draw. Okay. This is orthocenter. This is the circumcenter. This is the distance I'm finding. What will the distance be?
17/2.
17/2, exactly. 17 is the diameter, 17/2 is the radius. This is the distance from the center to the circle actually, and that will be equal to the radius. Radius is 17/2. Anybody has any doubts with this question? Anybody has any doubts with this question?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, arrange T1, T2, T3, T4 in ascending order is another homework I'm giving you. All right. Arrange T1, T2, T3, T4 in ascending order is another homework. Okay, let's head to the basic identities. Right. What's sin A plus B? What is sin A plus B?
Sin A cos B plus cos A sin.
What is sin A minus B? Replace B with minus B in sin A cos B plus cos A sin B. So when you replace B with minus B, cos minus B becomes cos B itself. Sin minus B becomes minus sin B. All right. So this is what you'll get. Sin A plus B, sin A cos B plus cos A sin B, sin A minus B, sin A cos B minus cos A sin B. What about cos A plus B?
Cos A cos B minus sin A sin B.
Minus sin A sin B. You'll know why I wrote minus on top, because cos A minus B is cos A cos B plus sin A sin B. All right. Okay. Now, what about tan A plus B? It will be tan A plus tan B by 1 minus tan A tan B. What about tan A minus B? Tan A minus tan B by 1 plus tan A tan B. Okay. All right. So these are basic identities you already know. So let's get familiar with some important angles. What's sin 15? Please find sin 15. Come on. Value of sin 15.
Root 3 minus 1 by 2 root 2.
Absolutely right. Right. Sin 15 can be written as sin 45 minus 30. It can be further written as or 60 minus 45, or whatever you like. Okay. Sin A cos B. What is cos 30? Root 3 by 2 minus cos A sin B. Sin B is 1 by 2. So then I get root 3 minus 1 by 2 root 2. Okay, can you tell me what cos 75 will be? Guys, don't find from the beginning. Notice that sin 15 can be written as cos 90 minus 15. Okay. All right. So that is nothing but cos 75. So cos 75 is also equal to root 3 minus 1 by 2 root 2. Now can you find what cos 15 is? What is cos 15? I've written it there. You can find tan 15 from here, right? Tan 15 will be root 3 minus 1 by root 3 plus 1. Rationalize the denominator. You get 2 here. You get root 3 minus 1 the whole square, which becomes 4 minus 2 root 3, which is basically 2 minus root 3 for tan 15. So similarly, tan 75 will be root 3 plus 1 by root 3 minus 1. Okay. So remember this. Cot 15 will be root 3 plus 1 by root 3 minus 1 from this. Okay. Tan this will also be equal to tan 75. So tan 75 will be root 3 plus 1 by root 3 minus 1. Rationalizing the denominator, you get 2 plus root 3. Is this okay? Is any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay. What is sine 2 theta?
2 sin theta cos theta.
Okay. What is cos 2 theta?
Cos square theta minus sin square theta.
Okay. If I write it only in terms of cos square theta, can I do that?
Yes, sir. 2 cos square theta minus 1.
Okay. If I write it only in terms of sin square theta, it will become.
1 minus 2 sin square theta.
Guys, I hope all of you are following. Okay. Now, can you write sin 2 theta in terms of tan theta?
Yes, sir.
How do you do that?
Tan theta divided by 1 plus tan theta.
Where did we get that from? Sin 2 theta can be written as 2 sin theta into cos theta. I will write this as cos square theta divided by cos theta. So then what will happen here? It becomes 2 tan theta here. And cos square theta, I'll write it as 1 by sec square theta. Okay. Sec square theta, I'll write it as 1 plus tan square theta. All right. Similarly, cos 2 theta is 2 cos square theta minus 1. Or let that be. I'll write this as cos square theta minus sin square theta, and they'll multiply and divide by cos square theta. So then this becomes 1 minus tan square theta. This cos square theta goes to denominator as sec square theta and then becomes 1 plus tan square theta. Okay. I hope all of you got this. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
What is tan 2 theta then?
2 tan theta by 1 minus tan square theta.
Okay. All right. So we have discussed the basic ideas here. Now solve one question. 1 plus tan 1 degree, 1 plus tan 2 degree, all the way up till 1 plus tan 45 degree equal to 2 power n. What is n? That's the question. Start doing this on. Okay, so first I would like you to see this 1 plus tan 1 degree into 1 plus tan 2 degree all the way up till 1 plus tan 44 degree into 1 plus tan 45 degree. What's tan 45?
1.
And so we already have that the last term is 1 plus 1, which is 2. Okay. Now we have 2 into 1 plus tan 1 degree. I will write the next term as 1 plus tan 44 degree. Okay, I'll keep that there. The next term will be multiplied by 1 plus tan 2 degree into 1 plus tan 43 degree. Okay, and so on up till 1 plus tan 22 degree into 1 plus tan 23 degrees. All right. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now I see that each of this is in the form of 1 plus tan x into 1 plus tan 45 minus x, right? Each of these are in this form, right? 1 plus tan x, I'll keep it as it is. 1 plus, what is tan 45 minus x? Tan 45 minus tan x by 1 plus tan 45, which is 1 into tan x. So then this becomes 1 plus tan x plus 1 minus tan x. So this becomes 2 by 1 plus tan x into 1 plus tan x. Okay, they will cancel out and you get 2. So whenever you have this, remember that this is equal to 2 here. Got this?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts here?
No, sir.
All right. So how many 2's are there? There is 1, 2 here already. Then from 1 till 22, there will be 22 more 2's. Right? So this will be equal to 2 per
23.
23. So what's the value of n? N will be
23.
all right. Okay, so this was a previous JE problem. Right, so yeah, hope we had fun with this. Now I'll give okay, the remaining formulas we'll actually quickly discuss here and then practice next class. Sin A plus B into sin A minus B equal to sin square A minus sin square B. In other words, they can write that as cos square B minus minus cos square A. Okay, then if I have cos A plus B into cos A minus B, I can write that as cos square A minus sin square B. In other words, sin square A, no, cos square B minus sin square A. The next formula would be 2 sin A cos B. I can write that as sin A plus B plus sin A minus B. 2 cos A cos B. What will that be? Cos A plus B plus cos A minus B. Guys, just expand the RHS. That's the only deal here. Okay. What about the next one? 2 sin A sin B will be what? Cos A minus B minus cos A plus B. All right. So just remember all these. I'm sure you know all this from before. Okay. Just recollect all these. We'll need this soon. As in, we'll need this from now onwards. Okay. So, yeah. What I want you to do is go back home and practice this C and D formula. Okay. like sin C plus sin D, cos C plus cos D, all of that. All right. So practice the C and D formulas, practice the product formulas, and then come for next class. All right. So your homework would be to do trigonometry class 11 from NCERT book. You'll practice JEE problems after that. All right. So that's a big homework I'm giving you, not a small one. Don't do the entire book as such. Do few problems everywhere such that you can remember the formulas again. Right. Do it to the point where you can solve the problem without looking for the formula. Okay. You hearing me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. So fine. We'll do this in the next class. Okay, practicing more problems. And do you want to discuss some other chapter? Like what is going on in school that you're having trouble with? We can tackle that also. That's right. If you tell me, I'll come prepared so that we can finish the chapter in like 10-15 minutes for your school. Okay. Anyway, we'll see next class. All right. Please respond, okay, from next class onwards. It's more than a request. I need your responses for the class to go smoothly. All right. Otherwise, it's just a movie you're watching and you won't extract much till you practice problems. To extract, please be involved, practice along with me, and keep asking doubts whenever you hit a roadblock. All right, that's the way to go about it. If you don't practice it, it's your loss. Frankly, that's what it is. All right. So please, guys, don't get into a loss unnecessarily. Make use of the classes. Ask me doubts. Respond. All right. Be more proactive. Okay. On that note, I shall leave you guys. Okay. See you next class. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Yes, Siddharth.
I have a doubt in sets. Sir.
Doubt in sets, huh? Yeah. What is it?
Sir,
Ask.
the DPP. Sir.
Huh? What is the question asked?
I will check and sir. Sir, that question is not possible to read, sir. Like, let A equal to x of x belongs to R, mod x less than 1. B equal to x of x belongs to R, mod x minus 1 greater than equal to 1. And A union B
Mod x
equal
minus
to...
1 greater than equal to 1, no?
Yes, sir.
Is this correct? Mod x minus 1 this way or mod of x minus 1
Right,
greater than
this is
equal to 1?
correct, sir. Correct, sir.
Okay, fine. All right.
And then A union B equal to R minus D.
R minus B, yeah. Okay.
R minus D, sir. D.
R minus what?
D for dog.
D for dog. Okay. D is another set which you'll introduce now. Okay.
We have to find D, sir.
Okay. All right. Fine. Now, what is A saying? A set of all values of x between minus 1 and 1. Okay. Minus 1 and 1, both not included. Right? Is that clear for A?
Sir.
Okay. Next is B. B says x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 1 when x minus 1 greater than 0. And then 1 minus x greater than or equal to 1 when x minus 1 is less than 0, which means x less than 1. Okay, so one of them will put equal to, not an issue. So here, x, here I'll get what? X greater than or equal to 0, while x greater than or equal to 1. So this gives me 1 to infinity. So 1 to infinity, I also take along with me. All right. Next, x less than 1. So x less than 1, what are they saying? This is happening. Or I can say that x minus 1 be less than -1. X minus 1. Let's draw x minus 1 directly. Okay, let's solve it graphically. That's best. When I get y equal to x minus 1, I have y equal to x. I pull it down 1 unit. It'll go through this point, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is y equal to x minus 1. And this should be the mod of it. Mod of it should be greater than or equal to 1. Okay. So mod means 1 minus x is also there. And that should be greater than or equal to 1 means it should be less than or equal to 0. X should be less than or equal to 0. Or x should be greater than or equal to 2. So x minus 1 greater than or equal to 1 means x is greater than or equal to 2. Alright. So from 2 to infinity, not 1 to infinity. 2 to infinity. Okay. So here I get 2 to infinity. And x is less than or equal to 0. So union minus infinity to 0, both included. Okay, sorry, minus infinity can never be included. So it goes like this. Now, point here is this and this, there will be common points. Okay. So this is basically minus infinity to 1. Union 2 to infinity. So D here will be 1 to 2 not included. This will be the value of D. What was the value of D you were getting?
Which one, sir?
D, the value of D. D for dog.
Which I
The
got?
final answer.
Which I got, sir?
Yeah. Like, we'll understand your mistake and we'll try to correct that. No, that's right.
I didn't get anything.
Okay. Now you got the answer? What to do?
Yes, sir.
Or do you want one more clarification? Please tell me. Try to solve it in a neater fashion.
No, sir. This is clear.
Clear enough? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, no problem. Any other doubts, sir?
No, sir.
All right, Siddharth. Take care then.